With a can-do attitude and the right tools, anything is possible. You just have to dream big and start building your dreams. Every dream starts with a little inspiration, an epiphany, a vision, but more importantly, the motivation to take action. Everyone's dreams are different. Mine, yours, everyone's. A lot will say they don't want to die with dreams, they want to die with memories. You only achieve what you commit to. It's not going to happen overnight, but over time, the same hard work, the dream begins to build. Join us on this ride as I share my dream and my journey with you. But more than anything, I want you to get inspired too. Get out there and start building your dreams. We started this journey alone, but along the way we forged relationships with many of the best in the industry, and I want to thank them for their support and generosity. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. John here. It's time to start building our dreams, and that's exactly what we've done with Project Rampage over the last 2 years in our 2023 Eco Diesel. Before that, we had our 2021 white manual Gladiator, and way before that, we had Big Red. Big Red is kind of my go-anywhere workhorse. We added the ARB bumper, we've done some injectors, we did some front headlight. But why are we doing Big Red? So back in 2006, Dodge came out with a mega cab, which was the longest cabin you could get in any full-size truck. And they made the 1500, 2500 in a Hemi, and then the 3500 came with a Cummins option. I've got the 3500. The mega cabs were basically all the same truck with a few minor tweaks for suspension. What they did is they already had the extended cab. They extended that another 21 inches, and then they took, you know, almost that 21 inches out of the bed, and that's how we came out with the 6.5 foot bed. And it's great. It goes anywhere. We've got an auxiliary tank in the back. So you got 35 gallons of diesel for the truck, plus her 45 auxiliary tank. Why are we talking about Big Red a little bit more is it's her 20th birthday for Big Red. She's an 06 model. She's got the 25-foot paint job currently. She's a little sunburnt from being out in the sun, but she's also low miles with 180,000 miles on her. Now, I'm not going to take her everywhere I take my Jeep Gladiator, but the Ram is comfortable on those long open road rides. Having the 37 1350 R17s, the E-Plies, we've always run them on this truck since 2014. I first installed them, bought the truck in 09, so it kind of slowly progressed over time. The truck's been paid off, and if you were to go buy, you know, a new 3500, you're looking possibly at a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 truck, depending on which packages you get, and then you get a slew of emissions with it. This is a pre-emissions truck, so we're going to hold on to it, and I think she's set up pretty well between the ARB bull bar and the bed and the fuel tank and the lift and everything else, and vertical and four-wheeler. And this is basically my version of that low COG build. It only had a 3-inch lift, 37s, and then I did re-gear to 456s. It still has an open front, limited slip rear. And the thing about this model year is the prices come down a whole bunch. I bought this one for $28,500, and you can get them cheaper than that these days, maybe with needing a little bit of work. And, you know, in that 200,000 to 300,000 mile range, they're still good trucks because the Cummins, it lasts forever. This one I've personally done injectors on. That number 6 injector is hard to get to. I got a video on that I did way back when. Did have to do the transmission, so they're notorious for transmission issues. But if you can find a manual and you enjoy driving a manual, that's a work truck I would keep forever. And towing capability, so with the 456s, it's like having a mega cab or 06 Ram with the 410 factory gears. When you compare that with the 37s and you do the conversion charts and everything else. And so I can tow, you know, 14,000, 15,000 pound trailers. Most of my trailers are double axle, full 7-ton axles. And I can tow 14,000 pounds easy. Funny thing is, with the way they rated these, I've seen trucks tow a lot more, but even a gooseneck on these older trucks, they're rated at the same whether you're towing a fifth wheel or a bumper pull. And so we did add the Kurt trailer hitch on the back of this. And so all this to say is I'm going to start sneaking in some projects with Big Red. She needs some work. Last couple of years we've been doing a lot of Jeep stuff. but she needs some work. Like, I've never actually done the upper and lower ball joints, never done anything with the steering other than dropping the sway bar down. The suspension, the shocks, that kit's been on there over 10 years, and the Bill Steins are still doing their thing. It's got a Bully Dog tuner that I've had for almost since the truck was new. The air filter needs a replacement and refresh in it. And then, as you can see, we just got a Harbor Freight rack and some lights, and that gives me good area lighting at night. But one issue with these old Dodges is the radio starts going out. You know, I've been driving the Jeep. I really like having a backup camera. I also like being able to have my Apple CarPlay multimedia there. And so we're going to swap out the radio in this, not because I really wanted to, but because simply it will not go up in volume. It's got that dreaded decrease volume won't increase bug, and basically that's when you know your radio's bad and you'd have to ship it off, get it fixed, and come back. But for like 150 bucks on Amazon, you can get a CarPlay system. We're going to use a little 9-inch there. We're going to put a backup camera on here because the other day I had to pick up one of my trailers, moved around at the storage lot, and it was in and out of the truck a bunch of times because I didn't have anybody with me to finally get hooked up and, you know, move the trailer around. So having that backup camera will also help when we go to hook up trailers. And it's just one of those modern conveniences. The great thing about these trucks is they don't have a whole lot of electronics. The electronics are all in the fuel injectors, the transmission shifting points, but compared to a modern diesel with DPF and SCR and regen and shutdowns and all that stuff, that's why a lot of people delete, is they want a truck like this that can tow a lot and not mess with all the emissions garbage and DEF fluid and everything else, and they just need to work. So Big Red is kind of my work truck, so we're going to give her a little bit of a refresh, and I've got some cool parts we're going to throw on there. Today's video is not sponsored, although we've had a lot of build partners in the past. Maybe some will come and help us out with Big Red. Most of that's focused on the Jeep build. So with that being said, let's go ahead, check this out, and get started. So when you get up close to Big Red, as you can see, the sun has just been destroying the paint on her. And so we're like wearing off the clear coat and everything else. She's pretty well oxidized. We do have, you know, some surface rust and patina coming through already. And then up here, this used to all be, you know, a really pretty red like that. And we used to wash and wax her a whole bunch. But even with the wash and wax, last time I did a good wash and wax with her, she was starting to peel. So not the same truck we had 5 years ago. We may, you know, either Poppy's patina the paint, or we may try some other things, or Raptor liner, or what have you. But, you know, other than that, she still starts up fine every time. She is a work truck, so it's a bit messy in here. Like, we got some WD-40 and some other stuff. I do like the retro wood styling. That's pretty nice. The front dash is a little cracked. Down where the drink holders are, they're not really very convenient being down there. I did buy a little thing to stick in here that's, you know, going to move the cup holders up. So that's one little upgrade we're going to do. Another one is a radio, and I'll show you what's going on with that. And this is going to be a little bit funny to look through my old playlist here. So we'll start the truck up. The problem is you can't turn the radio up. So it'll go down, but it won't go back up. It goes to 1, and you spin, spin, spin. You try the driver's wheel. It can go down, but it won't go up. It'll go up to 1. So that's a major bug with these old radios. Sometimes they just give out. So we're going to upgrade the radio with a more modern unit off of Amazon, and we're going to install that. The other thing is, because I didn't want a little camera hanging off the back randomly, I did spend a little bit extra money, and this is from a company called Master Tailgaters, and this is a replacement. I already compared it, replacement handle for the tailgate with the camera built in, so it keeps everything looking nice and factory. And so I think that will be a good upgrade for this. So we're going to start installing this before we move into the radio. Basically, a bunch of 8mm have to come out of the bottom and then pop off the front fascia here to pull the radio. Guys, so we're going to start with the tailgate here. As you can see, this one does have some chrome accents, so it took me a little bit of looking around, but I did find this one. It's going to be an OE replacement. It does have the drop down camera, and so Basically all we got to do, depending on what type of tailgate you have, you may not have to do everything I'm doing. If you got spraying, you can pop that off, but I got to remove this cover, and then we got to get down to where the hinge itself is and take that apart. So grabbed our Milwaukee pack out of the Jeep. We have a ratchet here and a battery. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this cover. I think most of these are tin. They're pretty rusty. Hopefully nothing's rusted through. So we're just going to try to crack these loose. Some of them have fell through the bed over time. I'll be interested to see how it looks under here too. A lot of people would shy away from these plastic tailgates because of the fear of getting water underneath. Especially if you're hauling a lot of loads and what have you. Well, let's see how bad the tailgate is. Pull that up. All right, so still looks like a pretty new tailgate. Not bad, not bad at all. Looks like I got a couple of Torx bits. I gotta find those. All right, guys. So we're gonna check our Inca trail bag here, and Inca Lewis from Inca 4x4 will be down at the SAVE Expo, and you can pre-order the new gen tool bags. Super popular, like a Jeep. That one's a T30, so we can use that. His newest one, his Gen 2 tool bag, does have a tool roll, so that would be nice for all these wrenches. But we'll just slide this down a little bit, hopefully not drop any wrenches in between. So that's the original color right there, guys. Look at that. Over here, I mean, she was a beautiful truck. I love red. Red is a beautiful color for trucks and Ferraris and fast cars. It's just American to me. So we've got all these out. Put these with her. It's always good to have one of these little magnetic trays when you're dealing with stuff like this. Move our cover plate. As you can see, the tailgate, kind of like the Jeep hinges, they didn't always paint underneath. And so when I got this truck off the lot, funny story, it did not have a tailgate on it. So maybe it had gotten rear-ended and they repaired the tailgate. I don't know. The color always matched. And so the good thing is you don't even have to you don't have to disassemble the rods or anything. So as long as your rods are set, you can do this just by loosening the handle. And then you always want to make sure your tailgate shuts back. The plate should just drop right down. Alright. So it just goes up in there like that. How does this look after 20 plus years? Now the wires are going to run here. Check a hole. I think there's some holes in the tailgate down below. We'll feed that through. But as far as bolting this in, super easy. It may not be a perfect fit to what the factory was. Now this is plastic, so that's a little concerning, but if you look at the original, I mean, it's comparable to the original, and the new one actually, you can see it has the gasket with it, so that's good. It's got a little bit of a weather seal, so we'll give it a shot. And then I was also watching a video, and the guy said make sure you lift over here near the driver's side, I guess, where the arm is that kicks this up. All right, guys, so all we're going to do, we're going to run our wires up through here. It has our two spades they're going to poke through. We got to get our lever up here above like such. You want to make sure that's above the contact plate, and then you can look where the wear lines are, where this was before. Just kind of try to put it back in the same place. I mean, that looks pretty good from the top view. We have to reuse our little nuts to hold our tailgate bracket together. Alright, so I tried to line everything up the best I could. And before you go tight, let's make sure everything works. You want to kind of lift on this side because that's where those pawls are. Drop the tailgate down. Lift the tailgate up. Eyeball it, make sure everything looks nice. Everything looks nice. And with that camera, we should be able to see, you know, where our trailer is when we back up. So that'll be a huge improvement based off of having to get in and out of the truck all the time. Hi guys, so I went to go look for my line puller, didn't find it, but I did find a piece of hose, first thing I came across, and so we're going to use this to run our line. I don't think there's another one close. The closest one I've got on my truck is right there, and then I can get 2 fingers through the bottom to run that. Now I can actually run that all the way through under the truck. So that took me a little while to go under there. The exhaust pipe in the back, the tailpipe's starting to look like Swiss cheese. So 20 years for an exhaust, that's not too bad, because this is still the factory exhaust. It comes with a 4-inch tube all the way from the turbo back. It only has a small cat in there and 1 resonator. So a factory exhaust on these old trucks is pretty loud. Might be time for an MBRP or MagnaFlow exhaust. I never really went to a 5-inch exhaust. I think if we were going to do it again, we'd go 4-inch turbo back. I don't want the drone of a straight pipe, so you get a lot of that ooh from the exhaust. Even with the factory exhaust, it's pretty noticeable on these old trucks. But I digress. Future episode. For now, I'm going to leave it as it is, and we're just going to focus on running these wires and get this project done. Anytime you do a project, you always find something. The more you modify the vehicle, the more stuff you're going to find. So thankfully I've actually got an old piece of tape on here, so we'll just reuse this piece of tape. Try to run it around that a couple of times and just carefully route this down and through. Run that down and through carefully. Pull from the bottom here. Now if you ever had to remove your tailgate, I think I've only removed mine, you know, a handful of times. These old tailgates are pretty nice because you just take them up to 45 degrees and you can pull that out. That's all in there, and we can put our cover back on and then put our tailgate piece on. As long as all the wiring goes well, we should be good. Tailgate cover back here. Make sure the wire's not underneath it. Get rid of all those. Push that down. And just try to line up the majority of your holes. Tailgate bolts fall out. That's just something that tailgate bolts have always done. Put 1 or 2 in, should be good. And that'll hold our tailgate on for now. I'm not going to show you guys running the wire all the way to the inside. Basically, we're going to pick a frame rail, go down the side, up through the cab. There should be some grommets, so I'll have to look either under the cab or on the front firewall. Snake the wire through there. It gives us a extension cable here, so this will go to an RCA cable. And then you do have to tap this into one of the tail lights or the backup lights. The instructions weren't really clear. The first thing the instructions said is use it professional installer. We don't always use that. Hopefully we got enough wire to go all the way from the tailgate up to the cab, so we'll see. Alright guys, so I'm gonna have to take my headlight loose here. This is a T25 on this old Dodge, and we have replaced the wiring panel in here before. I don't remember if we had to tap into it, but if we did, we probably tapped into this side here. Put the T25 in there and those 2 bolts, and these just kind of slide out. And here's all the wires. And I think I had to look it up before to know which one was a backup wire, because as you can see on the Dodge here, it's not an individual bulb or individual wire that goes to this. It goes in here, and then it's like a circuit board that controls your lights. So we'll probably use this loom, run it up through the dash if it's long enough. Hopefully we don't have to splice it with another RCA cable. And then this green wire, I'm pretty sure this is a reversing tap, power, ground, and so we may just splice all 3 of these into the tail light loom, and that way we know where everything is. Still running the wire around the back up to the front, but it's time to start working on the dash here. I'm going to tear this apart. First thing, this isn't factory, this is a bar that I installed. I just want to get everything up out of the way. Got a lot of keys there for trailers and what have you. And if your truck's old like mine, it's probably got all kinds of stuff there, unless you're a neat freak.
but we do have some things we got to take out. So over here, pull the cup holder. Don't want to tear it. It's starting to tear a little right there. Again, this vehicle's 20 years old, so just take your time with it. Because this end comes out, this floor plate here comes out on mine. Some people have coasters that fold down, but you just want to be as careful as you can with this, because you don't want to tear it completely. Knock that stuff out. And then there's a couple of 8 mils in here. Next part here is this cup holder. I think there may be one underneath it. Again, you're just gonna see if you can go around the edges, get it pull out. And it pops. And now that one's out. Got an 8 mil here in the corner. Make sure we're going the right way. Another 8 mil over in this corner. And an 8 mil here. Okay. Once you have those out, should be able to just pop it out and set it to the side. Now down here, if you had a manual shifter, it would come up through the floor here, and the floor is already stamped and everything for that, as well as if you had a manual transmission, your manual transmission would pop here. So I've got a couple more of these, take out a couple more 8 mils. Apologies, truck is 20 years old and it's kind of messy. And my dash is going to be a little unique compared to a lot because I've got this added switch panel that I put in here. In case you weren't able to hear it previously, we took out 3 8 mils there, got 2 more 8 mils here. This one here is a little stuck. And that just comes and slides out as well. You get that screw out because it's catching on the carpet. There's some chips in there from the last DIY project. Alright, set that panel to the side. Now, to pull this gauge cluster, there's 2 screws. This just pops down, but on mine I've got this screwed in. They're just normal screws there, so this screwdriver here is pretty nice. This is a DeWalt. It's kind of cool because it's got a Phillips, and then over here it's got a flat tip, interchangeable. On this side it's got a Torx and a square bit interchangeable. It's pretty nice because I use that to completely change out a door latching mechanism that was causing me issues the other day. So take out the screw on this side. That was the others. May have to take my air compressor regulators off for the rear. I do have airbags, so this one here leaks down just a little. Alright, put that one over there. Take this side loose here. So now we've got our air loose, and that's all run through a hose in this part. And I can't remember, I think this comes down. I can't remember exactly. Other videos I watched, you just kind of push down. Alright, so that side push down. Feed our body tool in here. So that side's down. Alright, we got both sides pop loose. Alright. We got a little bit of slack, so we're just going to lay that down. And then in order to pop out the top here, there's 2 bolts that run up. And actually, I must not have put them back in. So I think we can just pull this loose here. That's coming loose. Alright, we got the bottom out. And the top came. Alright. Thankfully nothing broke. Next thing is the shifter. You gotta shift this to the side to get this to kind of lay down like that. And then I got a little bit of slack here. So that's all that. And I'm actually going to leave it here while we do this project for the simple fact that I've got a lot going on. Normally you can just unplug these two and unplug the cigarette lighter and you can remove that whole plate. But for here, we're just going to do it like that. Got 4 screws. I took one out there. I'll take these others out. Now there is a wire for a key 1 position. I think we're going to just tap into what we've got going on here because the cigarette lighter comes on, as well as the gauge cluster, or the switch panel there. It comes on as well. I can leave that stuff there. I don't think we need to remove it for this radio install. And once we pull this one, the radio will be loose. The big thing is, I did not disconnect my battery, so I'm a bad boy. And so right now everything should be off, but there may be a hot wire in there. But this joker comes out like that. I think you got to pull on this. Yeah, so you pull on that collar, pull that out. 2 switches here. And switch here. And again, some of those wires in there might be hot, so we're just going to be careful with it. So as you can see now, we've got our 2 wires coming in. Got our radio cable. And then we've got some extras we got to wire up with this. So a few upgrades the new radio comes with. You've got a little microphone you got to route. Some people mount it over next to the driver's door. So you've got sound. You've got an adapter cable here with a CAN bus. There's 2 wires on here that we need to pay attention to. One is a key 1, and then this the amp one's not important. But then there's a rear power wire here for the camera that's got to get plugged in, and then the rest of this gets plugged in between this connection here and the back of the radio. Next one is you got a RCA cable adapters. The big thing on here is your microphone input. Thing I like here is you got 2 USB cables, so we'll try to mount those as well through the dash somehow, or just have them drop down in this compartment so that I can use them. And that way we can listen to CarPlay, hardwired charger phone, that type of stuff. It does work off of Bluetooth, but I found with CarPlay I like the connected version better than the Bluetooth version. Working on this, I gotta go get the video cable, get it run up to here so that we can take and use our backup camera. So now we've got our wires run through. This is our mic cable. It's a little bit short to run it down below the dash. I saw some guy ran one of these similar radios up here. Regardless, ran it under the dash, got it up here. This is our video cable to the camera. It's run through the back. This is up here. I put the little GPS. I need to replace this piece up here. Eventually I'll do that. And then I've got this cable for the GPS location. And we're about ready to start wiring. The only 2 accessories that I still need to mount are these USB cables. I'm just going to drill a hole or 2. I'm going to pull this out, drill 2 holes. So we're going to install a 1/2-inch grommet just to clean things up. I already pre-drilled it. Wasn't big enough, so we'll go back and we'll show you one more time. These Kinco drill bits just do an amazing job. And then the center one here should be a 1/2 inch. And all we're going to do is open this up.
And you may say, why do I need these? Well, if you have your radio or your phone and you want to charge it and listen to your Apple CarPlay, this is going to be the way to do it. Start off with our larger one, run that one through, take your smaller one, come up here where the small wires are, run that through, and we'll just run the grommet down. So now we've got that back in, and we can put our pad in there and still have a little storage compartment. Alright guys, so now we've got everything run. We need to put our little storage pocket back in, grab our 2 screws, and mount that. Run all these cables up on top of this little box. Screw this one back down. And we can start hooking up our radio now. So one thing we have to do is connect our power supply cable to this cable. You can solder it, you can do whatever. These wires are teeny tiny. One in. Lost my bottom grip on this. Alright, so backup camera should work now. Alright guys, so this is my first time seeing the radio, and it looks like we got a couple of brackets in here. So that looks like the main unit right there. Set that somewhere where it's not going to get damaged. Looks like we got a bracket here. It's going to match up with these. And so all the wires we had from before, all these will get pulled through this bracket. Alright, got our GPS wire down here. And you just have to grab that one, or that's our microphone. So that'll go in there. It's got an up arrow on it, which is good. And so we just screw that part in, and hopefully our radio will clip in after everything's done. Alright, doing our bracket now. I think we've got everything. Before we tighten, let's make sure we got 1, 2 wires here. We got our wire here. Here's this one. I need to make sure I grab our antenna cable. It goes down here. I think that's where our antenna extender comes in. Loosely put these screws in, get them started. So we got our antenna adapter in, and it looks like we just button everything up, and then this piece here clips in very, very last. Here we get our microphone adapter. It's really one of the main cords I'm concerned with losing. This cord here is going to get run out just like the other wires here. Dress this up. So we're going to take and put that one there. I'm assuming we don't need this other one, and so yeah, it's only going to go one way. Like that. That'll go in the back of this. And then here's the head unit here. Once we button everything up and make sure our wires are where they need to be. So basically all of this stuff is going to have to go through the hole here. So make sure all of our wires come through here. So there's that.
Now for the fun part of wiring all this, we have our box here and we're just going to wire it just like it says. We're going to do all the accessories first. So let's start over on this side. Nuts in, camera cable, and hook that up here. Don't want to stretch anything. Set our buttons, I guess. Got our cable for our camera next. Okay, our GPS module. Got our GPS in, smaller ones before the RCAs. Alright, so then our two USBs go next. Got our 6-pin lined up. Next is our 4-pin here. These are not the easiest little cables to install. Okay, next up is our pigtail connector from that. Now, GPS, now's our power cable, and we put that one in. All right. Now, without scratching the screen, to reconnect our antenna cable. That one's kind of a pain. All the wires. Okay. Well, here's the moment of truth, guys. We're going to put our key in. Hopefully we don't hear a pop or a sizzle. Hey, look at that. All right, we got a signal. So I think we're good. We'll go through setting this thing up and we'll check it out. All right, guys, so it's playing what's in there. Doesn't sound bad for a 20-year-old truck. All right, guys, so new radio in. No check engine lights, so it's a good day. Still got access here to our cables. There are two USBs down below. So got a lot to put back together here, but overall I'm pretty happy. Just gonna put everything back together in reverse order of how we had it. So there's that, that's up. Now we can start popping these back in. Alright guys, check this out. Even the door ajar works here. Another thing I updated here was this cup holder. So down here, that was one of the things I had mentioned. These are pretty cheap. This one already cracked, but they're like 20 bucks off of Amazon. A couple of drink holders, you know, you can put your phone in here. So you can be hands-free when you're driving. So that is just a lot more comfortable than reaching way down here to put it in the floorboard. So I'm pretty excited about that little upgrade. That's something else I installed here at the very end. And then here's the final result on the stereo. So we got our doors closed. The CarPlay's coming up. So when we unlock our phone, it should set up the CarPlay. And as you can see, my CarPlay came up here. And so the screen in the Jeep is 8.4. So like even here, we can go Onyx. And it'll load our Onyx map. If you wanted to, you could scroll here because it is touchscreen. I think I've got to download the app in order to play YouTube on here. But for the Jeep, we got the Renegade controller here. I can go to Amazon Music. So music's pretty good on here. Backup camera, again. There you go. There's Rampage behind us. So a lot better and not bad for a 20-year-old truck. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more of Big Red and some of the projects coming up, it's going to be a little bit at a time. Put a lot of work into the Jeep Gladiator Project Rampage, and, you know, that's her toy. Big Red is really kind of our old work truck. Having the backup camera, like I said at the beginning of this, I was having to jump in and out of the truck in order to do that. The Mega Cab, as you can see on the inside, if you're going to build an overland rig and you're going to mostly do 4 service roads and you got a family, the Mega Cab, like, you can't get a bigger back seat for teenagers and, you know, even other adults. I've got legroom back there. Folks used to joke with me about driving the farm limo, and that's really what the Mega Cab is. Mega Cab's 20 years now. This was the last of the 5.9, first of the Mega Cabs. So I'm pretty happy with this truck. I think we'll be keeping it for quite a while. Again, if you want to see projects, leave a comment down below. I don't know if I'm going to get any sponsors for this build. We've already got the ARB bull bar. You know, the headlights are looking a little rough, even though they're only about 3 years old. We've got the updated tow mirrors, the Harbor Freight rack, the kayak is back there. But one of these full-size trucks makes a really comfortable overland rig. And I see a lot of content creators doing that, like, you know, the Story Till Now. And, you know, one of my friends who is a Jeep guy, he just got a full size, but they don't make a lot of stuff for the 06 to 03s as far as, like, I wish I had an AEV snorkel, AEV cutout flares, and if I could adapt them, I would. And the other thing is, I wish it was a manual, but other than that, I love this truck. There's some service requirements that we need to do, like, we need to do some brakes, some ball joints, update some steering components, the transmission, the engine. It's an old truck. They do have a few little leaks here and there. So over time, I'm going to keep working on the truck. But if you want to see more content on the truck, let us know. Shout out to the folks at Synergy who helped me with the Gladiator build. I'm sure I'm going to be reaching out to them, asking them about some components for, like, steering ball joints, uppers and lowers, because honestly, I think I'm on the factory ones, and we've gone about 180,000 miles because I bought the truck with about 20,000 miles back, you know, 2009 timeframe. And whether you're looking at a Jeep, full size, I like the Dodges, I like the Jeeps. I'm not, you know, against any other builds, but these are what's in my garage and my driveway and, you know, kind of what we do. I'm grateful every day that I have this truck because she can tow a ton. You know, 14,000 pounds behind a big truck like this, that's more than plenty for most folks and most applications. I'm not doing over-the-road trucking or have a big excavating business, so I don't really need a bigger truck. I've got a little tractor, I got some trailers, I got a Jeep, and some other things, and this truck will pull them just fine. So things I'd like to do in the future, not that the budget's going to allow. I wired up the front lights here, so you can see those in the garage. I've got some work lights around for when I work on projects with the truck. But I left these 3 blank, and what I was thinking was, you know, air compressor, front and rear lockers, which you can do on these AEM axles from ARB. So that is an option out there. It's not going to be as cool as, like, the electronic locking diffs on the Power Wagon. The Power Wagons actually have a smaller rear diff than the 3500s, at least for this generation on the 3rd gen. And thanks for everybody for watching. I'm going to try to do some more videos as long as I'm having fun and you guys are enjoying them. Appreciate everything. Again, a like, a subscribe, a hype, whatever you want to give it. And then Toyo Tires, really appreciate their support with the Jeep. And the old tires that I bought myself that went on the white Jeep at first, and then we put on Rampage, those 37s, they're going to get put on here. So I love the Toyos, and I'll give you one last parting reason why. So being an old work truck like it is, I discovered this once you start doing work on things, and this is why I love Toyos. There's literally a nail in the tire that's probably been there who knows how many thousands of miles. These are older, so they do have some cracking going on. They still have a little bit of tread left, but we're going to swap those out for the ones that were on the Jeep. And so thanks for watching. I love Big Red. She's a workhorse for sure. So this is definitely the 20-foot paint job. But as you get up closer, you know, it's got some pretty bad sun fade that's been happening. And we're getting a little bit of orange underneath. So love this truck and look forward to doing some more projects on Big Red. Thanks for watching. If you would, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, leave a comment down below, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys down at the SAVE Expo with Project Rampage and a few other events throughout the year.